Hello guys, how are you all doing? This is Rosemary Renders. You are welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to work on Melissa. She's my model today.
Hello.
Yeah. So I actually don't have a particular thing to do on her face, but we'll go and see how it works. So we're going to start right away. First of all, Happy New Year and good to have you all back. I want to use this medium to say a massive thank you to each and every one of you for your love and continued support. You all are welcome. This year is going to be a prosperous one to all of us. So now let's glam our gorgeous girl. So first of all, clean up her face using baby wipes as usual, and then followed by spooling her eyebrows in shape, which I think is not necessary because her eyebrows are well groomed and in shape as well. So all I need is to fill it up using brow gel named Brow Definer by Makeup Academy and the brow brush number 210 from Makeup Designory. So as you all can see, and after then I use brow fixer from Makeup Designer as well to put the brows in place so that it wouldn't get messy when applying foundation or any other product on her face. So the next thing I did was to use P. Louise base in the shade of Remo 02 and this brush from Morphe. I'm going to leave every details at the description box in case you want to get any of them. So I use that to define her eyebrows in order to look more perfect. So afterwards I go ahead to blend it. So next is to apply base and primer on her eyelid, which I did by mixing both eyelid primer called Put a Lid on It and LA Girl Pro Concealer in the shade of Creamy Beige together. I'm going to leave every details, like I said before, at the description box in case you want to get hold of any of them. So what I did here was to get it ready, and afterwards I go for Zulu Palette by Juvia's in the shade of Pagan, shade number 3 as my base color, and I apply this at the crease corner using this amazing brush 800 from Makeup Designer and blend it towards her tear dot. Next is to blend it. I use this brush called Perfect Blend from Beauty Bay to blend the color, making sure that it's well blended before I go ahead to throw in another shade. When applying this or using this palette, make sure you don't pack the color to the brush because it's highly pigmented, thus it's going to be difficult to blend up. So I further use the same brush I used earlier on to apply this shade called Epic from a palette called 15 Slayer by Morphe below her wrist corner, and using the brush to diffuse the color towards her inner corner and a bit further outer corner of her eyes. So when I'm done with this, I go further for a clean brush to use to blend both colors so as to achieve a perfect transition. So in order to achieve a more brighter color at the area that I'm going to take out, I first of all use Vaseline and cotton bud to soften the area, not to squeeze it. Gently take out the excess colors around the area I want to apply the brighter color. Afterwards, I go ahead to apply the primer and the base, mixing them together to apply those areas before I can go ahead to apply the shade I want. So now that I'm done doing that, I went further to borrow a shade called Odogu from a festival palette by Juvia's as well, starting applying from the inner corner of the eyes towards tear dot using a flat brush from Morphe, and further apply the metallic rose gold shade number 7 on the first palette I use on top of the Odogu, as in the shade called Odogu, so as to give me a pinkish gold look, you know. And after that, I use only Odogu towards her tear dots. So when you look at the eye shadow closely, you can see that it transits from gold to gold pinkish and towards the brown color, as in the at the corner of her eyes, at the outer corner of her eyes. You can see that it's brownish, deep brownish to gold pinkish, and then to gold color. So that was how I achieved the eyelid area. So make sure when you're blending this, you have to be very precise, you know, using a clean brush one after the other depending on the color you're taking, if you are going to repeat the same brush. So as you can see, I make sure that I use the first brush that I use to make sure that the edges are well blended by using the same brown that I use from the Juvia's to use it to cover the edge. After that, I have to blend it across at the upper side, not on top of the gold, the brighter colors, as in where the edges are, making sure you blend it and they are well blended. So after that, I go ahead to do her waterline by starting with a black eye pencil to line it. After that, I go ahead to use the smudged brush to blend the dark color very well before I go ahead to use the shade Forever from 15 Days Layer by Morphe to blend the black eye pencil, blend it very well before I can go ahead to use Define and Sweet and mix them together to use it to give it that brownish smoky eyeliner. And I went further to darken it at the outer corner of the eye where the down and upper eyelid meet together in order to lift the face a bit. So now that her eyeshadows are popping, now let's face the rest of the face by using baby wipes to wipe off any excess of shadows that fell on her face, and followed by moisturizer and primer. So in order to correct the minor pigmentation on her face, I use this corrector palette in the shade of BC3 from Makeup Designory to correct those reddish pigmentation, and further use foundation in the shade of CB2 and CB3 mixed together to cover the rest of the face. Initially, I took the CB3 as a foundation, but along the line I found out that it's too dark for her. I had to mix it with CB2 in order to give her exactly the color. So here I go ahead to use a smaller fluffy brush to make sure that the foundation gets to the corners where the big brushes or beauty blender cannot go in. I use that brush under her eyes, across her nose, and so forth. So afterwards, I use beauty blender to blend everything, making sure that all the foundation are properly applied and well blended. So here, as you can see, I'm going to take my highlighter. You see the quantity I took the products from MUD Cosmetics, they are highly pigmented. So when I'm taking it, I usually take it very small in order not to waste it, because a tiny can go a long way. So I use that. I'm going to leave the shade at the description box. I use it as my highlighter. Then after I go further to use the darker shade as my contour. So guys, watch me while I do it. So before I go ahead to put any other dry product on the face, I first of all mattify the face using a colorless powder from MUD Cosmetics to mattify the whole face, you know. But under the eye, I leave it moist because I don't want it to be too dry or too dry. So I mattify the face, and after that I go ahead to contour the nose, apply cheek powder and the highlighter before I finally end up applying her lip color. On her lip color, I use the red liner and further use a pink lip color to blend them together. So for her eyelashes, I didn't use any eyelashes because she has high full lashes. So what I did was to use the mascara to voluminize her own lashes, and thereafter I go ahead to apply her lip color using the red lip liner and further use a brush to take a bit of pinkish lip color to blend everything seamlessly. So that is basically how we glam this gorgeous girl up. So what do you all think about the look? If you like this video, do not hesitate to give it a thumbs up. Do share this video to your loved ones, to your friends, you know, tell a friend to tell a friend. And if you've not subscribed to my channel, do not hesitate to click the red button right down there, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell to notify you each time I post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and Happy New Year once again. So I will catch you up again in my next video. Bye bye and take care.